let us begin by simply noticing how much of life we spend chasing something called joy, seeking it as if it is a reward waiting somewhere outside us, as if it is hidden in achievements, relationships, or possessions. And yet, when we reach what we thought was the pinnacle, the sense of fulfillment often remains fragile, fleeting, temporary. Why is that? Perhaps the first thing to understand is that joy, true joy, is not a thing to be obtained. It is not a result. It is not something that can be forced or manufactured. Yet, most of our lives are spent in the pursuit of it, as if it is a prize we must earn, and in this pursuit we miss something far more essential, the very capacity to be alive fully in the present, the effortless aliveness that is always already there. Notice your body for a moment, the subtle currents of life flowing through you, the quiet rhythm of your breath, the sensations that are arising and passing, unnoticed, often ignored. Life is not outside, it is happening constantly within. Yet, we are busy somewhere else, trying to create joy in the future. What if, instead of seeking joy, we simply allowed ourselves to be aligned with life as it is? Alignment does not mean perfection. It does not mean controlling outcomes or forcing situations to suit us. Alignment means understanding the nature of our body, mind, and energy, learning how to be aware, alert, awake in the midst of whatever life presents. The human mind is a remarkable instrument, but it is also extremely restless, always planning, calculating, projecting, remembering, evaluating. This restlessness creates friction with life, and joy slips away in the tension. So the first step is not to pursue joy, but to observe this restless mind, to watch it without judgment, without interference. Notice the spaces between thoughts, however brief they are. In that gap, there is already a sense of ease, a quietness that is not created, not earned. It is simply present. This is where joy begins, not as an object, not as a result, but as a natural fragrance of being fully awake. Many of us have a misconception that responsibility and freedom are opposed. We think that to be free is to escape responsibility, and to be responsible is to lose freedom. But this is a false dichotomy. True freedom arises when we take complete responsibility for our life, not in a burdened way, not in a tense way, but with awareness, clarity, and alignment. Responsibility without tension becomes joy. Responsibility with tension becomes suffering. Observe this carefully in your own life. How much of your energy is wasted in tension, in trying to hold on to outcomes, in insisting that life unfold according to your idea of it, and how little energy is left to simply experience life, to feel it, to be in it, to let it flow through you. The body is not an obstacle. It is not a limitation. It is a doorway, a vehicle through which life experiences itself. If you are tense in your body, restless in your mind, the fragrance of life is missed. But when the body is calm, relaxed, and alert, the mind begins to settle naturally. And in that natural settling, joy begins to emerge, not as a pursuit, but as a side effect of alignment. Observe your breath now, just as it is, without trying to change it, Feel the subtle rise and fall, the coolness at the entrance of the nose, the warmth as it leaves. In this simple observation, a shift begins to occur. You are no longer entirely lost in thought. You are beginning to witness life from within, quietly, calmly, effortlessly. This witnessing is not something you do, it is something you allow. The mind may resist, it may chatter, it may insist on stories and analysis. Let it be. Gently bring attention back to your breath, to the body, to the subtle awareness that observes without interference. Joy does not arise in doing, it arises in being, and being is only possible when you stop insisting on how life must be, when you stop creating resistance, when you stop pushing and pulling. There is space for life to move naturally, and in that movement, joy is already there. So the first insight of this journey is clear. Joy is not something to be earned. It is not something to be manufactured. It is a fragrance that emerges when alignment, awareness, and presence converge. To understand this is the first step. To live it is the deeper practice. Take a moment quietly to sense this truth in your own being. Notice where you are resisting life, where tension dominates, and where a subtle ease is already present. You may notice, even slightly, that joy does not need to be found. It is not lost. It is only clouded by restlessness, distraction, and resistance. Let us pause here briefly, not in words, but in awareness. Let your mind settle, your breath settle, your body settle. Notice the quiet presence that has always been here, the stillness that underlies every thought, every feeling, every movement. This stillness is your natural foundation. All else is temporary, shifting, fleeting. And yet, in this foundation, life unfolds effortlessly. Joy, contentment, aliveness, all of this is already present, waiting only for recognition, waiting only for alignment. As we continue, notice the subtle difference between effort and allowance. Effort is tension, struggle, pushing. Allowance is presence, attention, acceptance. The mind wants to control, the ego wants to predict, the body wants comfort. And in this push and pull, the natural fragrance of joy is hidden. Allow yourself to notice gently where effort is present, where control dominates, where you are insisting that life be a certain way. And let these observations arise without judgment. Simply noticing is already a shift. The more you notice, the more space opens. In this space, the body relaxes, the mind settles, and awareness expands. And in this expansion, joy is not something to grasp. It is something that naturally arises. Pause, breathe, observe, and let the quiet awareness deepen. This is the beginning of true alignment. The first step toward a joy that is not fleeting, not dependent, not earned. Now, let us explore the subtle dynamics of responsibility and freedom, and how these two, often misunderstood, shape the quality of our life. Most people believe that freedom is the absence of responsibility, and that responsibility is a burden that limits freedom. But in truth, freedom is never outside responsibility, and responsibility becomes effortless when it is embraced with awareness. Notice for a moment how much energy is wasted in tension, in trying to force life to conform to your ideas, in insisting that outcomes match your expectation. Every moment spent resisting life is a moment lost from experiencing it fully. The mind is constantly evaluating, comparing, planning, judging. And in this constant movement, the body tenses, the breath constricts, the heart tightens. Responsibility, when understood rightly, is not about doing more, controlling more, or striving harder. It is about aligning your attention, energy, and awareness with the reality of life, and acting from clarity rather than habit, fear, or compulsion. This is not a philosophy to memorize. It is an experience to live. Consider your own day, the ordinary tasks, interactions, and decisions. How often are they performed automatically, without conscious awareness, without noticing the body, the breath, the mind? Most of life passes like this, a continuous series of unobserved moments. And yet, even in these small moments, alignment is possible. Alignment is subtle. It is not dramatic. It does not announce itself. It is noticed only when the mind quiets, when the body relaxes, when awareness is present. In alignment, action becomes effortless, tension dissolves, and the fragrance of joy begins to emerge naturally. The mind often seeks control, believing that if it can predict, manipulate, or dominate circumstances, life will be safer, more comfortable, more joyful. But this is an illusion. The mind is a tool, not the master. When you treat it as the master, it creates endless complications, unnecessary struggles, and illusions of achievement. Observe now the difference between thinking and observing. Thoughts will arise as they always do, but can you notice them without getting entangled, without identifying, without reacting? This is the essence of the observer. This subtle witnessing is where real freedom begins, because in the witnessing, the mind loses its compulsive grip on life. Between two thoughts, a gap exists. It is brief, often unnoticed, but it is significant. In that pause, there is no struggle, no expectation, no effort. There is only being. Joy is already present there, waiting, silent, effortless. And the more you allow yourself to rest in these moments, the more natural the fragrance of life becomes. The body, too, plays a critical role in this awareness. A tense body creates tension in the mind. A restless mind disturbs the body. But when the body is relaxed, aligned, alert, the mind finds its natural clarity and the gaps between thoughts lengthen. This is the foundation of effortless joy. We often misunderstand effort. We believe that to live joyfully, we must work harder, push further, or control more. But effort in this sense creates friction. Effortless awareness is not laziness. It is a different kind of action, an action arising from alignment, attention, and clarity. It moves without resistance, without tension, without ego involvement. Notice for a moment the energy that arises when you act from tension versus when you act from alignment. Tension consumes, binds, constricts. Alignment liberates, opens, expands. In alignment, even the smallest action becomes a source of fulfillment because it is infused with presence, attention, and awareness. Emotions arise naturally. They are not obstacles, not enemies, not distractions. They are expressions of life itself. Watching them without clinging, without resisting, without judging, allows them to flow. And in this flow, clarity emerges. When clarity is present, joy is possible, effortlessly. The human mind fears uncertainty. It seeks predictability, comfort, and control. And yet, life is inherently uncertain, constantly shifting, always moving. The only way to live fully, joyfully, is to embrace this uncertainty without resistance. Not through struggle, not through obsession, but through awareness, alignment, and presence. Notice how subtle this practice is. It is not about changing the world, achieving more, or fixing problems. It is about recognizing life as it is, moment by moment, and moving in harmony with it. When the body is aware, the mind is present, and the heart is open, joy naturally arises. Observe your breath again, slow, steady, effortless. Feel the rise and fall, the coolness, the warmth, the subtle movement of energy within. Awareness of the body is awareness of life itself. Joy does not need to be created. It is already here, flowing, waiting, effortless. Even ordinary tasks can become expressions of this awareness. Walking, sitting, listening, breathing, speaking, each can be infused with presence. The mind often wants to separate, to rush, to achieve, to plan, to judge. Let it observe, let it watch, let it be. Responsibility, freedom, alignment, awareness, all of these are not theories. They are lived realities. They are not to be memorized, argued about, or followed blindly. They are to be experienced directly in the stillness of the body, the clarity of the mind, and the openness of awareness. Allow yourself to feel the subtle shift, the recognition that life is already complete, already whole, already present. The mind may question, the ego may resist, but awareness simply notices without attachment, without expectation, without judgment. Joy is not outside, not in the future, not in achievement. It is in the unfolding of life itself, the alignment with existence as it is, the clarity of the observer, the presence of awareness. In this moment, it is possible to touch that effortless joy, the joy that arises when tension dissolves, when resistance ends, when life is simply witnessed. Notice again the subtle difference between effort and attention. Effort constricts, pushes, strains. Attention opens, expands, observes, and allows. Life is not a problem to solve. It is a phenomenon to witness, to align with, to participate in consciously. Even the smallest gestures, the smallest breaths, the smallest movements become infused with joy when awareness is present. You may begin to notice a lightness in your being, a subtle freedom, a quiet contentment that is not dependent on circumstances. Observe without trying, without planning, without interfering. Notice how effortless awareness begins to expand. This is the space where life itself flows, where joy emerges, where alignment is natural, where presence is effortless. Take a long, deep breath and notice the subtle shift. The mind is calmer, the body lighter, the awareness sharper. And in this calm observation, joy is not sought, It is already present, silently, naturally, effortlessly. Now, let us turn our attention to the nature of effort and why so often effort becomes the very barrier to joy. From early on, we are taught that life must be conquered, that happiness is earned, that the mind must control, that the body must obey. And yet, in all this striving, the fragrance of life often escapes unnoticed. Notice how tension manifests in your own body. The shoulders tighten, the jaw locks, the chest constricts, the breath becomes shallow. This tension is subtle, and yet it is a profound signal of misalignment. Effort, when it is born from resistance, from expectation, from the desire to force outcomes, binds the body, disturbs the mind, and clouds awareness. Now, observe the mind. It constantly pushes, pulls, evaluates, judges, and predicts. It insists that life unfold according to its own designs. Every thought becomes a thread in a web of expectation, and every action becomes a struggle against the natural flow of life. True effortlessness does not mean inaction. It does not mean laziness nor surrender to chaos. It means acting from alignment, clarity, and presence. The difference is subtle but significant. Effortless action moves naturally, like water flowing down a gentle slope. It meets obstacles with awareness, not resistance. It engages life fully, without clinging, without pushing, without tension. Notice for a moment a simple action, something you take for granted, reaching for a cup, walking across a room, breathing. When you perform these actions mindlessly, the mind and body are not aligned. But when you bring attention, when you observe with awareness, when you engage fully with the present moment, the action becomes effortless, infused with clarity and subtle joy. Consider how many hours of life are lost to unconscious effort. Thoughts strain, emotions resist, the body tenses, and the mind spins endlessly. All this striving is based on the false assumption that happiness or fulfillment lies in the future. Somewhere beyond this moment, beyond this breath, beyond this awareness. And yet the present is already complete, already whole, already sufficient. Let us turn inward and observe the subtle gaps, the spaces between thoughts, the pauses that naturally arise in the mind. These are fleeting, often unnoticed, but they are deeply significant. In these moments, awareness emerges and joy arises spontaneously. It is not created, it is not earned, it is simply there, like the fragrance of a flower that cannot be manufactured. Now, notice the relationship between awareness and the body. A tense body restricts awareness. A relaxed body allows the mind to settle, and the mind settles, allowing awareness to expand. In this expansion, a subtle joy begins to appear, effortless, unforced, natural. Emotions will arise, as they always do. They may be strong, weak, fleeting, or persistent. Observe them as phenomena, arising and passing, without interference, without judgment, without attachment. The observer within you, the awareness that notices without reacting, becomes the anchor. And in that anchored awareness, joy is no longer a pursuit. It is a natural byproduct. Notice how easy it is to mistake activity for accomplishment, struggle for progress, tension for discipline. Effortless awareness is the opposite. It is a discipline of stillness, clarity, and alignment. It is a form of action that flows from the inner harmony of body, mind, and awareness. Even the most ordinary moments can be transformed. Washing your hands, walking across a room, listening to another person, breathing, all these acts, when performed with attention, become gateways to presence. Effortless joy is not dependent on extraordinary circumstances. It is born in alignment, in presence, in observation, in allowing life to unfold without resistance. Consider the subtle interplay of breath and mind. When the mind rushes, the breath becomes shallow. When the mind relaxes, the breath deepens. Observing this subtle dance allows the mind to settle naturally, without force, without effort. And in this settled awareness, joy emerges spontaneously. Now bring attention to your posture, your alignment, the natural rhythm of the body. Awareness of the body is awareness of life itself. The body is a doorway to consciousness, not an obstacle. Through the body, life communicates, awareness arises, and effortless joy becomes accessible. Notice the subtle shift as you relax into this observation. The mind becomes less compulsive, less insistent, less grasping. The body loosens, the breath deepens, the heart softens. Presence becomes palpable, alive, effortless. And in this field of alignment, joy arises without effort, without cause, without expectation. Allow yourself to be immersed in this observation, to witness life directly, not through planning, not through control, not through expectation, not through achievement, just through awareness, presence, alignment, attention. The mind will resist. It will seek patterns, explanations, conclusions. Let it. Simply return to observing, noticing, allowing, being. This is the practice of effortless joy, the practice of alignment, the practice of conscious being. Even in uncertainty, even in discomfort, even in challenge, awareness allows life to flow freely. Joy is not dependent on circumstances, not dependent on achievements, not dependent on people, not dependent on outcomes. It is the natural byproduct of alignment, awareness, and presence. Pause for a moment. Sense the subtle difference between striving and allowing, effort and attention, tension and alignment. Notice how awareness alone, without doing, without pushing, without forcing, brings clarity, lightness, and subtle joy. Every breath, every pause, every observation is a step toward effortless living. Effortless living is not passive, it is fully alive, fully attentive, fully present. And in this fullness, joy emerges naturally, spontaneously, effortlessly. Now let us bring our attention to the subtle art of allowing life to unfold naturally, without interference, without insistence, without grasping. This is the culmination of alignment, awareness, and effortless presence. In this state, joy is not sought. It arises as a natural expression of being. Notice the habitual tendency of the mind to compare, evaluate, and judge. It constantly measures life against expectations, against past experiences, against imagined futures. And in this measurement, the beauty of life often goes unnoticed. Awareness is simply the act of seeing without judgment, without interference, without the need to control. The body, too, communicates continuously. Every sensation, every movement, every subtle tension is a message. by observing the body with attention, by aligning the posture, by allowing the breath to flow naturally, awareness deepens and the mind settles. In this stillness, the natural fragrance of joy emerges effortlessly. Emotions arise as they always will. They are not obstacles, not enemies, not distractions. When you observe them without attachment, without resistance, without judgment, they flow through you like clouds passing across a clear sky. In this flowing, clarity arises, and effortless joy becomes accessible. Notice the gaps between thoughts, however brief. In these gaps, awareness expands, and life reveals itself in its simplest, most profound form. The more you rest in this witnessing, the more effortless your experience becomes. Joy does not need to be created, it only needs to be recognized. Consider the subtle interplay of effort and allowance. Effort, when born of resistance, pushes life away. Allowance, when born of awareness, opens life to its natural flow. This does not mean passivity. It does not mean ignoring responsibilities or challenges. It means engaging fully, attentively, consciously, without grasping, without tension. Even the most ordinary moments become profound when observed with presence. Walking, breathing, listening, speaking. Each can be a doorway to awareness. Each can be a step toward effortless joy, not because of what is done, but because of how it is done. Notice the subtle sensations in your body as you continue to observe. The rise and fall of the chest, the rhythm of the breath, the gentle flow of energy. Awareness of the body is awareness of life itself. The body is not an obstacle, it is the vehicle through which life expresses itself. The mind will continue to generate thoughts, as it always does. Let it. Observe the thoughts without becoming them, without identifying with them, without reacting to them. This witnessing is the anchor of effortless presence. From this anchor, life flows naturally and joy emerges spontaneously. Even in challenge, even in uncertainty, even in discomfort, awareness remains. It does not resist, it does not cling, it simply observes, aligns, allows. In this observation, clarity arises, and effortless joy is always present. Notice the subtle difference between being occupied and being present. Occupation engages the mind, the body, the emotions, but presence engages awareness. Presence is not a doing, it is a being, a recognition, a letting life be as it is. In presence, joy is effortless, spontaneous, and complete. Now, let us consider the nature of control. The mind constantly seeks to control outcomes, circumstances, and even emotions. This desire to control is the source of much tension, anxiety, and suffering. Awareness, however, does not control. It observes, it aligns, it allows. And in this alignment, life flows naturally, effortlessly. Take a moment to feel the subtle lightness in your being, the clarity in your mind, the openness in your awareness. Notice how effortless life becomes when the need to force, to manipulate, or to control dissolves. This is the essence of alignment, the essence of conscious being, the essence of effortless joy. Even the passage of time is experienced differently in awareness. Moments are not rushed, not lost, not wasted. Each moment is complete. Each moment is sufficient. Each moment is whole. And in this completeness, joy arises naturally. Observe the subtle interaction of breath, body, and awareness once again. The breath moves, the body flows, the mind rests, and awareness expands. This subtle interplay is the foundation of effortless presence. Joy is already present here, waiting, silent, effortless. Notice the subtle shifts in your posture, your energy, your attention. Awareness deepens as tension dissolves, as resistance fades, as presence expands. Every breath, every pause, every subtle observation nourishes effortless joy. Allow yourself to be immersed fully in this state of observation. Not striving, not chasing, not resisting, simply noticing, simply being, simply allowing life to flow. Awareness itself becomes the space in which joy arises spontaneously, naturally, effortlessly. Even challenges, discomfort, uncertainty, and impermanence are included in this effortless awareness. They are not obstacles, they are part of life's unfolding. When observed without judgment, they become opportunities for alignment, for presence, for effortless joy. Take a long, deep breath. Feel the subtle expansion of awareness, the clarity of mind, the relaxation of body. Joy is not in seeking, it is not in grasping, it is not in achieving. Joy is already here in every moment, in every breath, in every subtle observation. Notice again the difference between effort and attention. Effort binds, pushes, struggles. Attention opens, expands, allows. Life flows naturally, effortlessly, when attention is present, when awareness is awake, when alignment is felt. And now, rest in this simple recognition. Life itself is complete, whole, effortless. Joy is not a destination, it is not a goal, it is not a prize. It is the natural fragrance of being fully awake, fully present, fully aligned. Let this awareness settle gently, deeply, silently. Allow yourself to absorb the fullness of this effortless presence. Observe, breathe, relax, and simply be. This is the essence of the journey, the essence of conscious living, the essence of effortless joy. In this final moment, notice the subtle difference between before and now. Awareness has deepened, the mind has settled, the body has relaxed, and joy is present, silent, effortless, whole. No effort, no seeking, only being. And in this being, you touch the natural alignment of life itself. Awareness, presence, effortless action, effortless joy, all of these are not distant ideals, not philosophical concepts, not future rewards. They are here, now, within you, available in every breath, every thought gap, every subtle moment of attention. Let this recognition resonate, deepen, and settle. Allow it to guide the body, the mind, the heart, the awareness in every moment that follows. Effortless presence, effortless joy, effortless alignment. This is the gift of conscious being, the gift that has always been here, waiting only to be recognized. Rest here silently, fully aware, fully present, fully alive. And let the subtle fragrance of effortless joy fill every corner of your being.